Many people celebrate Halloween. Some people out there in my audience celebrate Samhain. Regardless of what you celebrate, Halloween is known in some circles as a time when the veil between the living and the dead is thin. In some cultures, this means it's a time for revering the long dead. In other cultures, Halloween is celebrated as a time to let go of mourning and to move into the new. In either case, there's a metaphorical similarity there that we shouldn't ignore. This past Halloween, last week, there was also a full moon, something that happens rarely on Halloween. So, of course, I had to take advantage of it, especially with all the weirdness going on right now. I decided to put together a really simple little ritual involving a candle, 2 sticks of incense, and some wine. The ritual's purpose was to let go of the old and embrace the new, especially with everything that's going on right now. And it was something that I did outside, in the dark, at night, Halloween night, under the full moon. It was beautiful. To get more specific, part of the ritual was designed to be a release. Now, as is always the case, I'm not judgmental about whether you think the ritual is psychological in nature or spiritual in nature. Either way, this ritual has the same impact. I'm letting go of something from my past and moving and embracing the unknown future. More specifically, in this ritual, I was letting go of ROTA, de Keldor, the fictional world that I've been building in my mind for 40 years. See, there's something if you're not an author you don't understand about written works like this. When you're working on something, when you're still creating it, when it hasn't been finalized, canonized, put out into the world as a finished product, it's still mutable, it's still yours. You are the master of whatever it is you're creating. But when it's done, and when you put it out for other people, no matter whether it's only one other person that reads it or 1 million other people that read it, it's no longer yours. It's theirs now as well. So this ritual to me was letting go of all of this property, the role-playing, world-setting sandbox that is the limbo location in which de Keldor and his characters all play and live, and making it something that's everyone's. It's not mine. It's released from me. I am not the master and arbiter of that world any longer. It is now just a thing that exists in the world that people can buy the books for and play in their own imagination if they want. And so letting that go, making it so that I don't need to build things within that construct anymore, is freeing. It was also the letting go of past fears, it was also the letting go of past views, and it was also the letting go of past work. And anyone who's followed me on the channel knows exactly what I'm talking about. This was the overall purpose of the ritual I put forward. Very simply, I put a candle in front of me, lit it. I had 2 incense sticks that I crossed in front of each other just because that's what felt right. I had wine in a little serving cup in front of that, and a wine glass for myself. And I sat under the moon and just let go. Now, strangely, when I got to the point where I felt like I had truly released everything and I felt truly free of it, I got this overwhelming urge to also turn the ritual into something more. It became a sort of dedication to the path that lies ahead. Not just to accept that which is coming, but to step foot in front of foot on a path that is being laid out in front of me. I don't know how to explain it other than to say that I have agreed to be on the path. But that's what it was. It came to me to do a dedication, a sort of rededication to this spiritual side of things, to this accepting of these feelings that come along with doing things like these rituals, and moving forward in the betterment of the self in that direction. And so I performed this as well, although it was not what I had planned to perform as part of the ritual. I didn't see any wild, crazy stuff or experience any super hallucinations during this, but I did get this feeling that overwhelmed me, as if my entire yard was filled with spectators. It felt as if I was at the head of a wedding ceremony where there was a large number of guests. And I can't explain why it felt that way, but it just did when it reached the point of this dedication. The dedication felt like a wedding, like a marriage to this new way of life. And ever since then, I felt more tuned in to my own feelings, my emotions. And I know it's gonna sound woo-woo, oh man, but I think a lot of what I let go of when I let go of the spiritual side of things was listening to my own intuition, going with my gut and my feeling. Now, do I think you should just 100% trust your feelings and ignore any logic? Of course not. But I'm starting to learn to take these two things, put them together. Another interesting thing that happened to me while doing this ritual is that I was reminded of the fact that in multiple rituals, back when I was heavy in the occult, I used to find that things just came together to make the rituals feel right. What do I mean by that? Here's an example from this exact ritual that just happened. So, I went outside with my candle, which, by the way, was not the candle I had envisioned. I went into my drawer to get my candles, and there wasn't the candles I was looking for, so I was forced to compromise and get this shorter candle, but I said, well, it'll probably last anyway. I put the candle in place, I lit it with a lighter, no problem, but when I went to light the incense with the lighter, which was those incense sticks, again, crossed, the lighter just wouldn't work. Why? It had just lit the candle with no problem. Later, I've tried the lighter again and it works now, but it just wasn't working. So I'm sitting there going, fuck, what am I gonna do? I can't light the incense. And then, duh, right in front of me is the answer. There's a candle with a lit flame, dumbass. So I pick up the candle and I light the incense with the candle which was supposed to represent the letting go as it dies the entire way down and is released, has now also lit the incense, which just feels more right. It feels poetic, it feels artistic, and I've come to find that art seems to have something to do with all of this. So, at the end of it all, I'm like, this is just a cooler way to do it. And so because something didn't work, it ended up better? And that's the memory starts coming back. Oh, this has happened many times before. Equipment failures, certain items not being there that you need on the day of a ritual, and replacing them and then looking at what the replacement is, the improvised version of the ritual, and saying, it's actually better than what I planned. That's what happened here as well. Even more interestingly, this shorter candle, that wasn't the one I wanted to use, died down to the very bottom, and when I finished the dedication, it was almost gone. It had lasted exactly the time I needed for the ritual I had planned, plus the dedication, and then I stared into it as it lost the last of its light, letting go of the last of the past. And I looked up as this happened and noticed the last of the incense sticks fall and die out. All of it happened at the exact same time. Wouldn't have happened with a larger candle. Again, is this just me reading a bunch of crazy stuff into it? Sure, maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying, the spirits caused it, guys! You gotta buy my books and shit! No, I'm just saying, it's weird. All in all, a fulfilling ritual. And since then, I've just felt a lot more emotional. A lot more of my feeling is going on to coincide with the logic that I normally have. And I feel like I've let go of a lot of the questions I used to have, like, what's this particular entity? Are entities real? Is magic real? Who cares? Who cares why it works? Let's just do the practice and see where it leads us. I've got a lot more topics that I want to bring up. This video is being recorded like a month since the previous video, because this is actually current, but a lot has happened in that month. I've had a lot of time to think about this, to the point where when Halloween came up, I was ready for that dedication. And I'm going to be talking about all that stuff in the weeks ahead. Let's not blow all our load early and run out of content. I want to thank my Circle of Magi, my $5 patrons for watching. I want to thank my $2 patrons for watching as well. All of those patrons have access to my segment called Psycho Mind, which is delving into my own mind. So if you're interested in that, or if you're interested in all the old videos on occultism, that's on the Patreon. Otherwise, I also thank all of you who watch here. Until next time, safe travels.